55 to Lakeshore Drive. Inbound Ryan, delayed start at the Stevenson, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 16 minutes, I-80 to the Verge. Bishop Ford, 14. It's heavy starting at Cottage Grove. The northbound tri-state is tight between the Reagan Tollway and the Eisenhower. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer show continues. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast with meteorologist Steve Williams.
Today a pleasant day, lots of sun, the high at 78. A few patchy clouds tonight, low 62. Nice day tomorrow, partial sun, the high 80. Mostly sunny, nice day Friday, the high Friday at 83. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Right now it's 60 degrees. Your next news update in 30 minutes. Continuous coverage of news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. I'm Elisa Z. Chicago's Morning Answer continues on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning is our friend Scott the Cow Guy Shilady, Fox Business regular.
Good
Scott.
morning. Good morning.
Yeah, TikTok's on the clock, Scott.
Yeah.
And President Trump was asked about his comments in suggesting that Microsoft can go ahead and pursue acquiring TikTok. His comments particularly about a finder's fee that the Treasury Department was going to reap
Creative.
if the deal was done. Trump explaining this in the Q&A yesterday during his COVID briefing.
TikTok is very successful. It does tremendous business in the United States. People are riveted by it. I mean, I have many friends, when they saw that announcement, they're calling. I think their kids love it. They don't, because they don't get to see their kids anymore. But they are. It's an amazing thing, whatever it may be. And I told Microsoft, and frankly others, if they want to do it, if they make a deal for TikTok, whether it's the 30% in the United States or the whole company, I say it's okay, but if you do that, we're really making it possible because we're letting you operate here. So the United States Treasury would have to benefit also, not just the sellers. And I said, inform, very simple. I mean, we have all the cards, because without us, you can't come into the United States. It's like if you're a landlord and you have a tenant, the tenant's business needs a rent. It needs a lease. And so what I said to them is whatever the price is, a very big proportion of that price would have to go to the Treasury of the United States. And they understood that. And actually, they agreed with me. I mean, I think they agreed with me very much.
Is it like a landlord and a renter? The sort of smacks of you didn't build that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's putting himself in, I would say, fairly dodgy ground. I mean,
I don't know what he can actually effectively do. I understand the position he's taking, but just on the merits, it's sort of a ridiculous mercantilist position.
yeah. Well,
The government gets a cut of a private transaction. If there's a national security issue, which there is, and Mike Pompeo raised it on Maria Bartiromo's show on Sunday, with respect to using that as a vehicle for surveillance or data mining of the personal information of Americans, for influence operations that the Chinese communists are running in this country, as Pompeo detailed. Okay, fine. Well, then kill the deal based on national security concerns. But if it's if you can navigate, and Microsoft can navigate the national security concerns, pass muster with CFR, then this idea that Trump, on behalf of the government, per Trump, gets a cut of the deal, gets a couple points on the deal.
It's a creative tariff, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. Come on.
Yeah, it's dodgy ground.
So.
But let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
This whole thing fell down at the first hurdle for me, because and maybe it's just me being ignorant or closed-minded, but the Chinese government spying on a bunch of 12 and 13-year-olds, I mean, what are they gleaning from that?
Well, I think it's
maybe they stick with them until they're 30. I don't know.
I don't know that it's surveillance. I mean, well, yeah. I mean,
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I don't know that it's surveillance of 12 and 13-year-olds is their aim here. I think it's more the data mining, the technology, and however they may be able to manipulate access to people's information for, as I said, the influence operations, both in the private sector as well as with respect to government officials that Pompeo was detailing in general terms to Bartiromo over the weekend. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's why I say I think that's the question that should be raised and it should be answered. And if the State Department says that they're not concerned from a national security perspective, then okay, well then green light the deal if that's what Microsoft wants to do. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Scott McKay. He's the publisher of the Hayride and contributor to the American Spectator. Scott, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, morning, Dan. How are you?
Good. I know you wrote a good piece in the Spectator about the Chi-Coms and Trump's aggressive posture towards them, particularly since the COVID-19 outbreak. But on this, do you sense that? I mean, take whatever opportunity you can to remind people that the Chinese are not our friends, that he wants to take a hard line with all things Chinese communist related or controlled. I get that. But is this the best forum to advance that posture, this TikTok rhetoric?
Well, I'm not crazy about the finder's fee thing either. I mean, it's kind of classic Trump, right? Which is, hey, I need a piece of the deal. But that's a businessman talking and not the president, and hopefully they'll kind of talk him down from that. But the TikTok piece, I mean, and this is pure speculation on my part, but what I see with respect to TikTok and the threat that it poses is, every 16-year-old in America at this point is subject to being propagandized and indoctrinated by the Chinese government. And I think that there's a lot of evidence out there that, that's the kind of thing that these guys are into now. They are very, very, they're active in trying to, culturally influence the United States, which is the exact opposite of what we thought was going to happen.
Yeah, right.
30 years ago when we, we're going to make these guys Jeffersonian Democrats by trading with them, and the classic example of this is the NBA. They've got the NBA coaches running training camps in Xinjiang where they're beating the heck out of, Uyghur kids, and trying to indoctrinate them as good little Chinese communists. And they've got the NBA coaches sanctioning this.
Well, right. ESPN remarkably did that investigative story last week that where the NBA had to do their Captain Renault routine and what's happening in our camps.
That's right.
But I would also add the Confucius Institutes that now are getting new scrutiny. American colleges, their influence in academia. No, I think you're right about this. And I'll tell you what, for people who don't believe that the Chinese are quite adept at agitprop campaigns, go watch the documentary One Child Nation and see how comprehensive was their propaganda directed at their own people to advance the one-child policy for the disastrous, disgusting, ghoulish one-child policy in their country for 35 years. That's really, in part, destroy the female population in China. It completely out of balance. So much so they had to move to a two-child policy. But you want to see a Orwellian propaganda campaign? Watch that documentary.
Sure. Well, you go all the way back to the Cultural Revolution, which most of the stuff that kind of the cancel culture, hard left, intersectional bunch is doing, and which is again on college campuses that China has really paid a lot of attention to in this country. The Cultural Revolution pioneered pretty much all of the worst of the stuff that you see going on now, between knocking down statues and the whole bit if you know a little bit about Chinese history, I mean, you're like, well, wait a minute, this is all repeating itself here, and we're standing by doing nothing about it. I'm not saying that China's behind it all, but it is a little bit weird to see that, and especially in a country where we never thought it would happen.
Do you think that the Trump, the State Department should intercede and kill any acquisition of TikTok by Microsoft or whoever?
Well, I mean, I'd feel a lot better if TikTok was owned by Microsoft.
Yeah,
I don't know if you take a computer app, from China or wherever else, and then, try to kill it in the United States. You drive it underground, and I mean, people can get on an app. It'd be better if you could, move TikTok away from the Chinese Communist Party. I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah,
I don't know about taking a finder's fee off of it, but
yeah.
I support the idea of let's not have our kids using Chinese Communist Party apps as they're growing up.
Sure.
Right? I mean, I just there's something creepy about that. I don't think it's a good idea. I mean, the thing with the seeds all over the country, which is, it's not that they're planning, Audrey rather, and we're going to have man-eating plants coming from China. It's not that. It's they're doing this brushing thing, but that's essentially identity theft is what it is. And I think we probably need to take steps to not live in a world where the Chinese government is in charge of everybody's information. Because the more you look around, I mean, as creepy and Orwellian and weird as that sounds, that's exactly what they've done to their own people.
Well, we get enough.
I mean, you get this whole social credit score thing that goes on over there, and all of the elements to build that here are available, and then you have somebody that actually is crossing borders to try to develop that kind of influence on people's consumer habits and other things, look, this is the kind of stuff that it's okay to take some proactive steps that may sound tinfoil hatty, but better safe than sorry for something like that.
Well, in addition to that, we get enough Maoist propaganda directed at our kids in school from the teachers' unions as is, so I don't know that we need to layer in the Chinese.
Well, I mean, the more we can do to keep our kids from being propagandized and indoctrinated into foreign ideologies, whether foreign to the borders of the country or foreign to the values of the founding of the country. I mean, that might be the number one challenge of our time these days. So, absolutely.
Scott Shelley here. Yeah, that's a great point. And also, I think it's ever more alarming that this may or may not be happening at the same time that they're flexing their muscles in so many other places. With the tearing up of the agreement basically between Hong Kong and China, what they've been doing to, the social injustices that the NBA, like you said, have turned their backs on, how they're ramping up their military. I mean, I also, just by Gordon Chang, maybe you know who that gentleman is. I don't know, but
sure.
He's good, and I just feel as though that sometimes with these things, especially with TikTok, and then all the other things I mentioned and what you mentioned, that I think Donald Trump is right now making sure that he's not Neville Chamberlain. I mean, I think that he's he wants to make sure that he's got his eye on that ball, and I think that coming from an agricultural background, we have a family farm. And what's been happening in the technological world over in China versus what we've been doing here, I think it's absolutely the right time to make sure that you've got your fingers in this and making sure that you are watching what's happening because it could quickly escalate out of control.
Well, there's no doubt. I don't know if you guys have seen this story about HSBC, which is a bank that I guess was originally founded in Hong Kong. So it's natural that they would be heavily involved in Asia. I think something like 80% of their profits come from Asia. Mm-hmm. And they are now absolutely caught between, England and the United States on one hand and China on the other over the Huawei situation, which is another, national security issue. You let these guys build your 5G network and then they're going to control all of your information. And so, here in the States and in the UK, steps have been taken to block Huawei from building the 5G network in both places. And the Chinese government is all over HSBC because they haven't taken China's side firmly enough. And they're now threatening to sanction HSBC. And it's the kind of strong arm thing that everybody saw was coming when the Chinese basically invaded Hong Kong. And so like that's a bank that probably, is, I would guess, is going to become a Chinese bank altogether, or at least split itself up because there's no way to straddle that fence anymore.
I wanted to get your reaction per this piece that you did about our elites, the betters that lord over us. You wrote our elites are venal and toxic. They're dishonest. They're stupid. We have a situation now where I don't have to go into work, so it's fine to lock down, meaning it's okay. I support the lockdown because I'm rich. The schools can close. They can just do e-learning, and that's fine if the teachers' unions want that, because I don't have to worry because I'm rich. And I wonder if you think that even more than in 2016, what you have, especially if properly presented, is the makings of a revolt against the elite in 2020, on November 3rd, 2020, to be specific, that will dwarf what happened in 2016.
I think it's possible. I've got a friend of mine who's a political consultant that's done, national campaigns or whatever. We were talking the other day about polling, because I was like, you don't believe these polls that have Biden just, running away from the thing. He says, absolutely not. He says, people are so afraid to tell a stranger that they're voting for Trump. They think they're going to be on a list. They're going to get doxxed. Somebody's going to show up at their house. And they're like, for what? Nobody's paying me to give my opinion on pollster. So he's like, we have no idea what the shy Trump voter, percentage of the electorate is, but it's way bigger than 2016, and that blew everybody away. This whole Black Lives Matter Antifa thing and the riots in the streets and all this other stuff, I mean, the number one effect of that has been to drive middle America even further underground in terms of its politics, right? I mean, remember the absolute hue and cry when people decided to run to the state capitol and protest the lockdowns? Like, oh, you're going to kill everybody with COVID, right? And then the George Floyd thing happens, and of course we saw earlier this week the video of his arrest, which kind of cuts things in a little different light. But, you're not allowed to protest, but these guys are, and they can loot and burn a Target. I think there's a rage out there, just regular, ordinary Americans, really across racial lines, because there's plenty of black people you talk to who are not on board with Black Lives Matter and are really, really angry that they're being painted with that brush. Rasmussen's got Trump in the mid-40s now with approval in the black community. I think there's a lot out there that nobody is picking up on right now.
He is Scott McKay, publisher at the Hayride and contributor to the American Spectator. Scott, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I like a bed that's really firm.
I need something a little softer than that.
Rest easy. With the Sleep Number 360 smart bed, you can both adjust your comfort with your Sleep Number setting.
Can it really help me fall asleep faster?
Yes, by gently warming your feet.
Okay, but can it help keep us asleep?
It senses your movements and automatically adjusts to keep you effortlessly comfortable. Sleep Number, proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. And now save up to $500 on select Sleep Number 360 smart beds, plus special financing on all smart beds, only for a limited time. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Dell supports America's entrepreneurs during Small Business Month with all you need to office anywhere. Save up to 45% on computers and servers with Intel Core processors. Upgrade to new modern devices with Windows 10. Plus, save on top brand tech while enjoying free shipping on everything and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call 877-ASK-DELL to talk to a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find the tech that